Welcome back, Kerbalots. Today, as promised before, we're going to learn about airplanes. So we're going to start out here in the spaceplane hangar. To start out with, we're actually going to use this original command pod for reasons that I'll explain later. Yeah, it looks kind of ridiculous, but trust me, there are reasons. Okay, so we have a couple of jet engines. We have this one. First, let's put in some fuel. Good. Then we'll put in the larger jet engine. Good, good, good. We need some kind of an intake. So we have two of them. That one's the bigger of them. Yeah, it looks a little funny, but we'll give it a go. Okay, let's see here. What else are we gonna need here? We'll also need most important thing that you're gonna need is wings. So let's see here. We'll want them symmetrical. Now, big question here is where do you put the wings? And this is actually one of the most important issues that you can have. So we're going to turn on a couple of little debug things here. So this big yellow ball here is the center of mass. This blue arrow is the center of thrust, or of lift. So what would happen if we were to launch our rocket like this is we would be pushing ourselves up and the center of mass, around the center of mass, so we would tend to move forward and nosedive. We don't want to do that. Ideally, you want to have them almost exactly aligned. Good. Just a little bit won't hurt anything. So we'll have to adjust it here when we put on the... Actually, let's do a different type of wing section. Let's do... Yeah, there we go. This is better. We'll put it fairly far forward because when we add in the... Well, we'll add in a tail fin for stability and also roll control. Yeah, that'll be fine. We're also going to add in ailerons. Let's see if I can... I'm far from a master of these. Whoops. That don't look right. One of these days I need to sit down and master these controls. There we go. So we're going to put in 2 sets of these. Now, if we were fancy, we could use one of these to control pitch and one of them to control roll. And I believe the outer ones would typically control roll, the inner ones would control the pitch, but we're not going to do that. We're actually going to move this wing just a little teensy bit forward. Now, the center mass is going to change a little bit. It's going to tend to head, as the fuel drains, then it will tend to move back some, so we're in a pretty good position there. Let's go ahead and put some wheels. Now, we don't really have a mission to use this airplane at the moment, so we're really just going to do some quick test flights. Actually, I'm going to move... Whoops. these wheels, the connector point higher. Whoop. Wheels need symmetry. What am I doing? Ah! It'll be fine. Okay, that looks good. And then we're going to put the steerable wheel, going to put it just a little bit forward of the center of mass. And what this is going to do is to allow us to tilt fairly easily. Actually, we can put this wheels further forward. You want the back wheel to be fairly close to the center of mass, but yeah, this will be fine. So we don't really have a mission to do with the airplane. I'm just really demonstrating how this works. Airplanes, it turns out, are quite a bit more complex than rockets in a lot of ways. They're actually probably a little bit more accurately modeled in this game. You don't start out at full thrust, for instance. Oh, come on. Yeah, what did I lose? Oh, piece of landing equipment, it'll be fine. So we're going to take a little jaunt over here and we're going to check out one of the other airports. Now, just like in real life, they very rarely just directly maneuver the airplane. They usually do a roll and a pitch to pull back and change the orientation. Wow, this is a very, very maneuverable plane. I'm actually moving pretty fast. That's what happens when you have a little itty bitty airplane. I'm actually going to switch to a purely gliding. I don't think we need any movement. We're going to go check out this abandoned airstrip here. Jeb's heard about this and he wanted to go take a look. So we're going to dive down. Now the aerodynamics model in Kerbal Space Program is fairly accurate, but it's not really great, although there is a mod that does a much better job of this, called FAR, I want to say. I've never actually played with it, but the more modern Kerbal Space Program has a reasonably good atmospheric model. The old ones before 1.0, it was not the best, let's say. Let's see if we can... Don't seem to have a lot of pointing control. Oh, there we go. Now we're headed there. We're off axis a little bit, but that's okay. We're gonna actually turn back on our engine here for a little bit. Although, let's cut it down to about half power. Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, we're going to come in for an approach. Going to be a little bit tricky with one of the landing gears missing, but we're going to compensate for that by coming in really slow. Although we're at stalling speed now, so we're going to have to increase our speed a little bit more. See the little airstrip here? There are a couple of unusual things that are around. This is one of the more unusual little abandoned airstrips. If we don't start flying higher and faster, we're going to crash into the water. Let's roll, pitch. And we're not lined up with the runway, but that's okay. It's not going to make much of a difference anyways, it's just a little dirt strip, so we can land on the grass right by it. Uh-oh. Yeah, there we go. Nice and slow. Oh no, we hit stalling speed. Oh, Jebediah is okay. So that is how you don't land an airplane. But looks like we picked up a few pieces along the way. It'll be fine. These little tiny airplanes can be rather tricky to get just right. So that's what our issue was. You can see we have a mission to go do some recovery of some various parts that are left over from here, and here we are in the Kerbal Space Center. It's clear on the other end of the planet. I'm definitely not going to do that one on camera, and I might not even do it at all. We're going to pick up our debris. So this crash debris is worth a little bit, even though it was crashed. True story. One of the first United States orbital rocket launch attempt blew up on the launch pad, and the satellite actually fell out of away from the exploding rocket, and they picked it up at some point in time. I think you can see it in the Smithsonian Museum or something like that. Pretty interesting little piece of history. Well, let's go ahead and figure out what we're going to do for next time. I think we're going to start planning a mission to the moon is the pretty obvious thing to do. Yep, that seems to be our best bet. We got a little bit of extra time, so let's go ahead and design our vehicle here. So this time we gotta land on the moon. We'll just take a single Kerbal here. So, how do we want to do this? I'm gonna suggest that we're going to... Oops, we want to leave the heat shield on. Let's take this off. What's this? Oh, decoupler? Yeah, that's fine. We'll want a little tiny stage. And we're not going to do an Apollo-style mission where you landed and then did an orbital rendezvous and took 3 astronauts. You can do that, but it's not a very efficient Kerbal Space Program way to do it. Okay, let's see here. Staging is off. This stage goes there. That rocket can fire there. Yeah, this looks better. Okay, how much delta V do we have? Quite a bit. 600. About... Sorry, I'm trying to do the math here. You need about... This isn't enough. You're gonna need a more powerful rocket to manage to take this. We're probably gonna have to upgrade the... This is gonna be called Moon Lander. So this top stage has more than enough fuel to get us from the moon back to Kerbal. So we're looking pretty good there. We want to put a small solar panel on so we have power. We don't need a lot of power, but we are going to need some. Let's put some landing struts. These are not the best. That should help. And then can we... Oh, this is probably... I think when you actually launch, then they'll come tucked in. So they're kind of sticking out at launch. They're going to be a little bit annoying, but it'll be fine. We really are going to need a little bit more thrust. So I'm going to do something the way of the Falcon Heavy. So the Falcon Heavy, it's probably everybody who watches this knows, was a 3-stage, or well, it's 2.5 stage is what they call it, system, where you had a couple of side boosters. Side cores that were the same size and power as the central core. Now we're probably not going to quite do that much. We're just going to do a little bit. That'll do. Now these side engines, we can have them be reliant. So that'll be good. We're also going to put a nose cone on them. Which of course is in aerodynamics. Okay. So you want to have the coupler to be about in the center so it'll push it away. If you're off-centered, then it can actually crash into this engine here, one of the very serious concerns. It gives a nice little kick, but you, if you had it at the very top, for instance, then it would actually push it and almost certainly impact the engine, which is bad. We're also going to do something that no current system in the world can do, although it has been proposed. And it's something that in Kerbal Space Program engineers they like to call asparagus staging. Basically what will happen is the center fuel tank will not be used until the side ones are completely gone. And then these side engines will turn off because they don't have any fuel. You disconnect them and essentially you have some speed and altitude already, but you have a fully fueled rocket of what we had before. Falcon Heavy actually had a proposed mode that was something similar to this, although the center stage would still use some fuel. A lot of the fuel would come from the side boosters. I don't think that's ever going to actually launch though, because they're far more interested in doing the Falcon Heavy at this point in time. So we're gonna change this around just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so all 3 of the engines launch at the same time. Then we disconnect the side boosters. Then we disconnect this one. Okay, the staging looks right. Good. Good. Now, what should happen, you can see here we have 6.8 kilometers per second of delta V. If we took this away, We have a couple hundred meters per second less. I also need to check the fuel flow. There's some new parameters. This used to be just kind of work easily. And this will be fine. Okay, so we got a little bit more fuel and considerably more. 1.3 kilometers per second more than what we started out with. This should be more than enough Delta V for a lunar mission. More than enough. We might even leave some fuel behind. We probably will. But it's better to be a little bit overkill, especially where it doesn't really cost that much to do this in Kerbal Space Program to over-engineer things. Of course, a real mission, you know, you're trying to save every penny you can, but there are some advantages to computer games. Anyways, this is all we got time for. Next time, we're going to launch this thing and go do some moon exploration. Hopefully, we'll at least get into orbit, and maybe we'll finish the whole mission off. Who knows? I'm gonna pick a pilot real quick here, which will be... We'll let Valentina do it. She's been patient. She already died once. She deserves to have the first moon mission. Jebediah was there last time anyways. Okay, well, we'll see you next time, and thanks for joining me. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to do, and come back next time. Thank you much.